Hello and welcome. Today, we're breaking down the reported facts of a truly shocking murder that took place in Delhi. It's a story about a brutal betrayal of trust, a calculated act of violence, and a desperate attempt to cover it all up. So, let's get right into it. This headline from the Hindustan Times, it doesn't just grab your attention, it really cuts straight to the brutal reality of what we're talking about today. It pretty much sums up the cold, calculated nature of an attack that left a community completely stunned and a family, well, devastated.
All right, to really understand what happened here, we have to start with the two central people in this tragedy based on what police initially reported. Now, what's so striking when you look at this is just how different their worlds were. On one side, you have the victim, a 22-year-old IIT graduate studying hard for her civil service exams with this incredibly bright future ahead of her. And on the other side, the suspect, a former employee, someone who'd been fired, but, and this is key, someone who knew the family's home, their habits, their routine, inside and out. The entire crime, from the second the suspect got inside to the moment he fled, it all happened with terrifying speed. Let's try to reconstruct the reported timeline of what went down that Wednesday morning.
So, look at this timeline. The suspect was inside that apartment for only about 45 minutes. Police say he used a hidden key to get in, right after the victim's parents had left for the gym, and he was gone before they even got back. That short, tragic window, that's all it took.
According to the police investigation, it all started when the victim refused a demand for money. And from there, it just spiraled into this sequence of escalating violence. First, strangulation. Then, being attacked with everyday household objects. Police also allege she was sexually assaulted while she was unconscious. And finally, her body was moved in an attempt to get into a locker. Later on, the forensic evidence really painted a grim picture that lined up with what investigators were saying. The autopsy confirmed the cause of death was strangulation, but it also documented so many other injuries. One detail that stands out is a fractured thyroid cartilage, which it just speaks to the sheer brutal force that was used in the attack.
So here's a really crucial point. This was not a random act of violence. The police reports point to an attack that was built on inside knowledge and a very clear, calculated plan. Let's break down how this alleged plan actually unfolded. Just look at the steps laid out here. This points to premeditation, right? The suspect apparently knew exactly when only one person would be home. He knew where to find the key. And that detail about trying to use the victim's fingerprints on the locker, that reveals a chilling level of forethought. When that didn't work, he allegedly just used brute force, then changed out of his bloody clothes before he escaped.
And what was it all for? What was the goal? Well, the robbery reportedly netted a total of 12 lakh rupees. That's about 2 lakh in cash and another 10 lakh in jewelry.
And the why? Why go to such horrific lengths? According to investigators, the driving force behind this entire terrible sequence of events was a gambling addiction. The suspect had reportedly been fired a couple of months earlier for borrowing money from neighbors specifically to fund this habit.
But here's the thing. The story doesn't actually start in Delhi. The investigation uncovered a whole trail of alleged crimes that began the night before, hundreds of kilometers away.
Investigators pieced together this desperate, chaotic journey. It allegedly started with another sexual assault in Rajasthan, then hiding out, grabbing food from a wedding he gate-crashed, and then hiring a van to drive all the way to Delhi. He arrived just about an hour before he was spotted on CCTV near the victim's home.
So, what happened next? Well, the manhunt was incredibly fast. Let's take a look at how the suspect was caught and what he reportedly said once he was in custody. It's actually pretty remarkable. In less than 14 hours after the murder, police tracked the suspect down to a hotel in another part of Delhi, and they made the arrest. They even recovered most of the stolen property.
Now, when he was brought before a magistrate, the accused reportedly said this, "Galti ho gayi, maine paise ke liye kiya, fingerprint chahiye tha locker kholne ke liye." It translates to, I made a mistake, I did it for money, I needed the fingerprint to open the locker. It's a chilling statement that seems to confirm the motive and directly links the murder to the robbery. The court did note, though, this wouldn't be treated as a formal confession.
So, the legal wheels started turning right away. The magistrate called the crime exceptionally serious and brutal and gave the police 4 days of custody to continue their investigation. Formal charges were filed for rape, murder, and robbery under the new penal code.
This whole case leaves us with a really disturbing question, doesn't it?
It shows us how a personal problem like a gambling addiction, when it gets combined with the kind of intimate knowledge you get from a position of trust, can just explode into this spree of unimaginable violence. It really forces us to ask what happens when desperation meets opportunity.